So first try to understand what I am going to deliver you. So I want your 100% focus on whiteboard, and then go through the NCERT. So first thing, there are certain type of biological classification, certain type of biological classification. So what are those type of biological classification? So these are category of biological classification. The biological classification, the category of biological classification, what we are studying today, that is phylogenetic system. So what are the system of classification? So let me make you understand. Systems of classification. Systems of classification. Right. So there are three system of classification in your syllabus. There are a number of the system, but basically we'll discuss over here in your course curriculum. We have to discuss only three type of the classification. So first and foremost classification system, the type of classification. How many type of the classification system? So there are basically three system of classification. So first is that is artificial system of classification. What is artificial system of classification? Artificial system of classification. Actually, this is the oldest system of classification. Sometime we follow it, right? So this is the oldest system of classification. So how we classify organism artificially? So in artificial system of classification, we discuss about the morphology, right? So when we classify any organism on the basis of morphology, then we call this kind of the classification system is artificial system of classification. So here we take care of morphology. What is morphology? What is morphology? Any one of you? Please tell me. These are the basic terminology. What is morphology? Maes, what is morphology? Who's going? Fatima, what is my morphology? Hey, come on. Look. Okay, it means morphology means that is description. Okay. Let me tell you. Morphology is that is physical appearance, your physical characteristics. All those characteristics, yeah, exactly. That is the outer appearance. Morphology means physical appearance, physical characteristic. What is the physical characteristic? Like we are human being, we are mammals. So we can say mammals are those organisms which have hair in their outer body part, and those which have mammary gland, and they give birth directly to their young ones. They are called mammals. So this is the morphological characteristic. What are the morphological characteristic of angiosperms? They bear flower, they bear fruit. That is the morphological characteristic of angiosperms. So when you classify any organism on the basis of its physical appearance, this type of classification system is called artificial system of classification, right? So note it down. When we classify organism, when we classify organism on the basis of when, give me just 1 second. 1 second. Yes. When we classify organism on the basis of morphology, this kind of classification system, this kind of classification system is called artificial system of classification. So morphology is physical appearance. Next. So what is the second type of system of classification? Second type of system of classification is called natural system of classification. So that is the natural system of classification. So what is the natural system of classification? In natural system of classification, we take care of natural relationship. We take care of natural relationship, natural relationship between individuals. Natural relationship between individuals. Here we also take care of morphology. Here we just taken care of morphology. Here we first take care of natural relationship. So first let me clear you what is the natural relationship. Natural relationship is that suppose that we are taking care of a species. So a species, so those organisms which belong to similar species, they can reproduce with each other. They can reproduce with each other. So that is the natural relationship between the organism of their species. So if any animal belong to single species, they can interbreed, right? And the organism which belongs to different species, they cannot interbreed. So that is the natural relationship between two organisms, right? Next, we take care of morphology. We also take care of here what? Physiology. What is physiology? Physiology is physiological or metabolic reactions which goes inside any organism. They are called physiology, like respiration, like digestion. This is a part of physiology. So all those reactions which goes on inside any organism, that is called physiology. So we take care of physiology, morphology, and natural relationship. So that is the natural system of classification, right? Now there is third type of classification system, that is phylogenetic system of classification. Phylogenetic system of classification. So what is the phylogenetic system of classification? Phylogeny means evolution, right? So here we take care of evolutionary relationship. Evolutionary relationship. So look, nowadays, whenever we classify any organism, like suppose that we are studying the classification of plant. So first we will study algae, then bryophyte, then pteridophyte, then gymnosperm, then angiosperm. Right? Why? Because algae came first. In this plant lineage, algae came first. So we'll study first algae. Then came bryophyte. Then we'll study bryophyte. Then gymnosperm. So this is the sequence of evolution. So nowadays the classification has been done on the basis of evolutionary relationship. Evolution, that how does they evolve? So on the basis of evolution, phylogenetic system of classification has been done. So nowadays we are studying phylogenetic system of classification. So in phylogenetic system of classification, the most important thing is that is evolution. Then we also take care of anatomy, we take care of morphology, we take care of physiology, we take care of anything, right? Most of the number of the things, right? So there are three type of system of classification. First, artificial, that is based on morphology. Second, natural, that is based on natural relationship. Third, phylogenetic system, that is based on evolutionary relationship. Is it clear to everyone? System of classification. Just have this one knowledge only. Clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Great. Note it down. Fine. So now come to the classification system, what we are studying. So in our syllabus, there is 5 kingdom of Whitaker. So before starting 5 kingdom system classification, first let me make clear that the first system of classification which was given by, so who's the person given the first system of classification? Means the man or the human who classified organism first time in the world. Yes, Yusra, good evening. So who's that person who classified organism first time in the world?
R.H. Whitaker.
Yeah. Yes, Yusra, are you telling something?
R.H. Whitaker.
R.H. Whitaker. R.H. Whitaker is the very young boy. He given latest classification system in 1969. So Iris, like before, like thousands of years before, there was a person. Look, the first system of classification was given by Aristotle. So Aristotle given first classification system of the world in 350 BC. Do you have idea what is the time period? 350 BC means yeah, Shra, please speak something. Yes.
So you're teaching chapter number 2, right?
Yeah, chapter number 2. We have started with the chapter
So
number
the
2.
last class I attended was we completed an archaebacteria.
Look. Ishra, there are 2 batches now. So Saturday, Sunday, what we are studying in Saturday, Sunday. In Saturday, Sunday, that is our older batch. So in Saturday, Sunday batch, I have taught all those students who have joined us in Saturday, Sunday class, like my Saturday, Sunday class. So I have taught them first chapter, Living World. Then I have taught them 5 kingdom classification system. Then I have taught them Monera. And we have started with the Protista, and even in Protista we have started photosynthetic Protestant. In photosynthetic Protestant, if I'm not wrong, I have taught them this one, chrysophytes and euglenoid, and one more, desmids, right? So these 3 classes I have taught them. Even slime modes, I have taught them slime modes as well. So that is the Saturday, Sunday batch. And this batch is, this is the new batch. This is for those students like who have joined us recently, like yesterday only. So this batch will be on for Monday and Wednesday. So the batch timing for this batch is Monday and Wednesday, 9 to 11. Is it clear? So there are 2 batches.
Yes, sir. But I have I started this chapter long before, and we have completed an archaebacteria. So
Okay,
am
you
I
have
in the other batch?
Yes, you are in other batch, Yusra. You are in like my Sunday, Saturday batch. You are joining me Saturday, Sunday, na?
So I just
Yeah, you can coordinate with Niskas as well. You are in Saturday, Sunday batch, right? If you have studied archibacteria. No. Are you in Saturday, Sunday batch? Did you join me in Saturday, Sunday, Yusra? Look, do one thing. Join today's class, because did you take in this class?
sorry,
Did
sir.
you taken this 5 kingdom classification system with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you have taken it, so you can leave and do one thing before leaving. Coordinate with our team. They will tell you, they will guide you.
Okay,
I
sir.
think you are in Saturday, Sunday batch.
Okay, sir.
Okay, fine.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Sir, even I have attended that class.
You are also in that batch, Jana?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if you have completed this topic, even you can leave and coordinate with Niskarji. Actually, you 2 are from Saturday, Sunday batch, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome. Nice. Yeah. Okay, actually, Niskas ji have brought message to you, because if any one of you have left this or missed this topic, then you can take this class here only. So that's why he might have messaged you. That is the case. So Mice, if you have completed this one, you can leave. And in case if you want to repeat, then you are welcome. So Aristotle was the person who given first system of classification. So first person who given classification system, or we can say the first person who classified organism, he was Aristotle only. This is the first classification system of world, right? So what he did, Aristotle said that there are 2 kind of animal, right? So his classification system was based on animal. So that was an animal classification system, to be more precisely, right? So Aristotle said there are 2 kind of animals. One who have red blood, other who do not have red blood. So he said there are 2 kind of animal in this world: those who have red blood, who have red blood, and another who do not have red blood, do not have red blood. So he said those organisms who have red blood, like those organisms who have red blood, they must be called enema, right? Enema is like those organisms which have red blood. So he said that those organisms which had red blood, they can be they should be kept in a group, and we call that group enema. Enema. And he classified organisms like those who do not have red blood, they have been put in another group, and that group is called enema. Enema. So Aristotle classified organism on the basis of blood color. So which type of the classification system is that? He classified organism on the basis of color of blood. So this is a morphological characteristic, right? So blood color is morphological characteristic because we can see the color of blood, right? So blood color is morphological feature. So the system of classification is artificial system of classification. Artificial system, right? So we can say Aristotle's classification is a type of artificial classification system, and where he divided or where he classified organism on the basis of blood. So one more achievement is that this is the first classification of system or first classification of the world. So he given first classification of the world, and the second important thing, he is also called father of biology. Father of biology. Here, I would like to mention one more important thing. Is it clear to everyone? In case if you have any problem, or in case if you have any doubt, you keep on asking me, right? So next, so I would like to add on here, Aristotle have as a student. So his favorite student, his name was Theophrastus. So Theophrastus, he was the favorite student of Aristotle, right? He divided plant on the basis of height. So he said that plant are of three type in this world. He said some of the plant, they are soft and they are very small. So he called them herb. Herb. So herb are 2 to 3 feet tall plant with soft stem and body. Second, they are called shrub. So shrub are those plant, shrub. Yes, yes. Shrub. He said there are those plants which height is 3 to 5 feet or 3 to 7 feet, and they have small like woody stem, but it's a thin stem, so they are called shrub. And those plants which are higher than, or they are taller than 7 feet, they are called tree. So tree are more than 7 feet. So he said that there are three kind of plant: herb, shrub, and tree. And this type of the classification, again, the classification system is based on height, right? So basis is height. Basis is height. So height is a type of morphological character. So we can also call this system, this is also following artificial system of classification. Artificial system, because Theophrastus is dividing or classifying plant on the basis of their height, and height is a morphological characteristic because we can see height with naked eye. So this is a morphological characteristic, right? So this is also a type of artificial system of classification. So plant animal classification system was given by, or we can say the first classification system of the world was given by Aristotle, and then his pupil or his student Theophrastus, he given second classification system that was also based on morphology, and he divided plant. So what we call Theophrastus? Theophrastus is called what? Father of botany. Clear to everyone? Theophrastus and Aristotle. So these are the first classification system of the world. 350 BC means that is almost 2300 years ago. In fact, 2450 years ago means before the birth of Jesus Christ. 350 years Before the birth of Jesus Christ, he told that he told to the world that there is something, a subject, and we call this subject biology, and he is the father of biology, and he said that animals are two types, anemia or anemia, right? Okay. So this was important. Actually, you know why I am telling you, because anemia, you will get this question 2 times. This question have been asked in mid examination. What is anemia, or what is the class of those organisms which have which do not have red blood? So that is called anemia, right? So this question have been asked, anemia, in medical exam. Next. Now come to the our NCERT. So our NCERT start from here onward. So the first system, the first in modern biology, the first system of classification was given by in modern biology. So there was 2 kingdom classification system. 2 kingdom classification system. So 2 kingdom classification system. This is the first classification system of modern biology. And this classification system was given by no but other than Carl von Linnaeus. Carl von Linnaeus. So Carl von Linnaeus, who given 2 kingdom classification system, he said that there are two type of organism in this world. So he divided organism in 2 categories. He said that the first and foremost kingdom, that is Plantae. So Plantae was first kingdom which was formed in modern biology, and he said there is second kingdom, and that is called Animalia. So Animalia was the second kingdom which was formed by this one, Carl von Linnaeus. So Carl von Linnaeus said that there are type of organism in this world: first plant and second animal. So all the plant must be kept in a kingdom that is called Plantae kingdom. In Plantae kingdom, he kept all plant, and here he kept all animal. Right? So that is a 2 kingdom classification system. So what was the basis of classification system? Note it down. Note here. Put a short note. What is the basis of? Basically, there is a difference in the structure of plant and animals. Right? So note it down. There is difference in the structure of plant. There is difference in structure of plant and animal cell. Full stop. Linnaeus taken the basis of classification Linnaeus taken the basis of classification to structure of cell and nutrition. Like plant have cell wall, animal do not have cell wall. Plant are autotroph, animals are heterotroph. So these are the characteristics. On the basis of these characteristics, he classified organism in 2 categories: Plantae and animal. So first, in modern biology, Linnaeus classified organism in 2 categories. Now there was a next classification system. So first classification system was 2 kingdom. Then it comes to the 3 kingdom classification. Yes, Gautam. Note it down. Linnaeus classified organism and taken the basis to the structure of cell, and nutrition. So basically, there are two bases for the classifying organism into two kingdom, and the most important basis was cell structure, cell structure, and that is nutrition. So on the basis of cell structure and nutrition, Linnaeus said there are two types of the organism, Plantae and Animalia. Now come to the second, that is the three kingdom classification system. Who given the three kingdom classification? Three kingdom classification system. So three kingdom classification system. Linnaeus have already classified organism into two kingdom. So the first kingdom was kingdom Plantae. Kingdom Plantae. It was already made by Linnaeus. And second was kingdom Animalia. Right. So there was one a person who said that there are a different kind of the organism, and those organism which are unicellular. So he said that the unicellular till two kingdom classification system, fungi was the part of Plantae. Why? Because scientists used to think that fungi also have cell wall and Plantae also have cell wall. So they used to consider fungi in Plantae kingdom till this time, right? So till this time, fungi was a part of, fungi was not a separate kingdom. So here, what he said, so the name of that person was Ernest Haeckel. So Ernest Haeckel, Haeckel, Ernest Haeckel was a scientist. He said that all unicellular eukaryotic organism must be taken out from Plantae and Animalia, and he taken out all unicellular from Plantae and Animalia and kept them in a different kingdom and made the third kingdom. So addition of the third kingdom was done by Ernest Haeckel, and he added Protista. Note it down, Protista. So Protista was the third kingdom on the basis of formation. So first the kingdom which was formed, that was Plantae. Second the kingdom which was formed, that was Animalia, and the third kingdom which was added, that was the Protista. Note it down. Ernest Haeckel separated unicellular animal. Ernest Haeckel separated unicellular animal, comma, algae, unicellular animal, comma, algae, and fungi from Plantae and Animalia. From Plantae and Animalia, because they are unicellular eukaryotic organism, because they are unicellular eukaryotic organism, and they do not have, or they lack tissue system, and they lack tissue system means they do not have tissue like structure. They are unicellular, they are eukaryotic, right? So they do not have tissue like structure. So there were three bases: unicellular, eukaryotic, and do not have tissue structure. So on the basis of these characteristic, Ernest Haeckel put all these organisms in Protista. Is it clear? Clear? Okay, fine. So Protista was third kingdom, and that was made by Ernest Haeckel. Keep in the mind, these are the questions of medical. What was the basis and who added, right? So now there was another scientist. So very interesting thing. What is the core kingdom classification? four kingdom classification system. So look, what is four kingdom classification system and what was the fourth kingdom? So till now we have studied that the first kingdom was Plantae, second kingdom was Animalia, both were given by Linnaeus, third one was given by Haeckel, and that was what was that? That was Protista. That was Protista, right? And there was another scientist, and his name was Copeland. The name of the scientist was Copeland. Look, the interesting thing is that before this time period, there was no electron microscope kind of thing. So electron microscope discovered by Knoll and Ruska. So Knoll and Ruska, two scientists, they were actually people who having physics background. So Knoll and Ruska, they discovered a powerful microscope, and we call this microscope electron microscope. So when electron microscope was discovered, so on the advent of electron microscope, it was the scientists, biological scientists or biologists, they came to know there are two kinds of the cell. So amazing. Before this time period, nobody was aware that there are two kinds of the cells. So after the advent of electron microscope, they came to know there are two kinds of the prokaryote and eukaryote. So do you have basic idea of prokaryote, eukaryote, all of you? If any one of you do not have basic idea about the prokaryote and eukaryote, say frankly, I'll tell you. And if you have, that's okay. That's good. No doubt now? All of you aware that what are the prokaryote and eukaryote? No one had doubt. Great. Great. If nobody have doubt, and in fact, we all studied in ninth standard what is a prokaryote, what is a eukaryote. Okay, great. So look, so at the advent of electron microscope, Copeland said, guys, there are one more kind of cell, and that is a prokaryote. So Copeland said, please separate prokaryote from all of these Plantae, Animalia, and Protista. Till that time, we used to study bacteria in Plantae kingdom. Why? Because bacteria have cell wall, and Plantae have cell wall, and nobody was bothered that bacterial cell wall is made up of peptidoglycan and plant cell wall is made up of cellulose. The structure of both cell wall is different, and then even the cellular structure is different. So because the electron microscope was not over there, and nobody was aware with the structure of the cell that much deeply, right? So on the advent of electron microscope, he added, Copeland said, that all prokaryotic unicellular organism must be separated from Plantae, Animalia, and Protista, and they must be kept in a separate kingdom, and that is the fourth kingdom, that was Monera. So note it down. With the advent of electron microscope, it became clear that prokaryote and eukaryote with the advent of electron microscope, it became clear that prokaryote and eukaryote are different organism. Prokaryote and eukaryote are different organism. Full stop. Copeland created a separate kingdom, Monera. In bracket, you can write it down. Monera used to be called Mycota. So Mycota and Monera is same thing, right? So sometimes some of the scientists, they used to call it Mycota as well, right? So Copeland created or created a separate kingdom, Monera, for all prokaryotic unicellular organism. So the fourth kingdom was added by Copeland, right? And it could become possible after the discovery of electron microscope. Next. Now, 5 kingdom classifications. 5. So, which one is that? Okay. It is not fourth, it's third. This is third, and 5 kingdom classification will be fourth one. Right, fourth. Okay, so 5 kingdom classification system. 5 kingdom classification system. Classification system. 5 kingdom classification system was given by a scientist. He said that this is not the correct sequence of classification system, right? Because this is not in phylogenetic order. Because first Monera came in this world, in this earth, then Protista came, then most probably Plantae came, then Animalia came, and then so on. So, right, he said that in the last one, arrival, the last arrival was of Animalia. So, and you are taking this Animalia in the second position. So, this is not the correct sequence. So, this system classification system is phylogenetic. So, he kept organism on the basis of their evolution or phylogeny. So, this is a phylogenetic classification. What kind of phylogenetic? So, in phylogenetic order, he classified organism in following category. Right. So, let me tell you that the name of that person was R.H. Whitaker. So R.H. Whitaker, given this classification system in 1969, he divided organism in 5 kingdoms. So the first one was, but he put organism in phylogenetic order. R.H. Whitaker, given this classification system, and he put organism in phylogenetic order. He said that the organism which came first on the earth, they were Monera. So the first kingdom was Monera. Second kingdom, then after Monera, it were Protista, which came on the earth. Third were, he added a new kingdom, that is fungi. He separated fungi from Plantae, and he said that fungi are different organisms. They are not relative of Plantae because their cellular structure is different, and cell wall of fungi is made up of a different kind of carbohydrate, and the name of that carbohydrate is chitin. We'll study in fungi kingdom separately and deeply. So he separated, that was the basis of classification. He said that fungi are not found in the form of tissue structure, right? They are not tissues, right? They are just loose, made up of loose filament. And he said that fungi, the cell wall of fungi is made up of chitin. It is quite different from cellulose. So on the basis of their cellular structure, their tissue structure, he separated fungi from Plantae and make a separate kingdom, fungi. And then the fourth one are Plantae. And he said that Animalia are those organisms, which arrive latest. So he said these are the last coming organism or inhabitant. So the Animalia must be the last kingdom. So these are the 5 kingdom classification system. Now, what was the basis of classification system? Let me make you more clear, right? Give me 1 second. I'll show you a diagram. Classification. Can you go back to the whiteboard for a moment? Yeah, sure. Okay, fine. I'll go back to please note it down. And if you want to note, you can note one more point. Okay, fine. Welcome. So note it down that R.H. Whitaker, Irish Whitaker rearranged all kingdom on the basis of evolutionary order. On the basis of evolutionary order. Hence, we can say this is a phylogenetic system of classification, right? Now let me show you how he classified these organisms. Look, he said that those organisms which are made up of prokaryotes, so there is something misspelled. It is not Monero, this is Monera. Okay, Monera. This PPT written on Monera. So he said that organism on the basis of cell, there are two kind of the cell, prokaryotic and eukaryotic. Prokaryotic cell, those organisms which are made up of prokaryotic cell, they are called prokaryotes, and they are always unicellular. Prokaryotes can never be multicellular. So the first kingdom, he kept prokaryote and unicellular in a first kingdom, that was Monera. Then again he said that eukaryotes are of two types. They can be unicellular as well as multicellular. So he kept eukaryotic unicellular organism in second kingdom, that was Protista. And again he said that all those organisms which are eukaryote but multicellular, they are of two types. One type of those multicellular which have cell wall in their cell, and those which do not have cell wall in their cell, right? So again, those organisms which are eukaryote, which are multicellular, they have cell wall, but they are different in their nutrition, right? Those who do not perform photosynthesis, mean they are saprophyte, he kept them in a separate kingdom called fungi. Again, those who are able to perform photosynthesis, he kept them in Plantae. Last but not the least, those organisms which are eukaryote, multicellular, and they do not have cell wall, they have been kept a different kingdom called Animalia, right? And Animalia are the last comer on the earth. So this is also a phylogenetic basis, and this is the complete basis of classification, five kingdom classification system. Now tell me, is it clear, or in fact, is it crystal clear to all of you, or do you have any doubt? If you have any sort of doubt, please feel free to ask me. Any doubt? Marine, Zana,
No, sir.
Gautam, any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay, crystal clear. Great, Fatima. Great. So fine. So you are very smart, guys. People are very smart. You are getting each and everything in like first attempt. Okay, great. That's good for me. You are saving my ATP. Okay, great. You all are very smart boys and girls. Okay, great. So should I go ahead? Huh? I should go ahead. So the most important thing. Now look, I have seen this question in your medical examination, that which of following is the basis of five kingdom classification, which of following is correct about the five kingdom classification, which of following is not the basis of five kingdom classification. This kind of question I have seen in your medical examination. Okay, thank you so much, Bhai Fatima, thank you so much. Okay, so look, five kingdom classification system, right? So what is the basis of five kingdom classification? So put the heading, basis of classification system, basis of classification, basis of five kingdom classification system. So first basis, note it down. There are 5 criteria. There are 5 criteria which are basis of 5 kingdom classification system. Full stop. The first criteria is complexity of cell, that is prokaryote and eukaryote, right? Prokaryote and eukaryote. So first was, then we divided organism in prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Again, the second basis of classification system was complexity of body structure. Body structure, that is unicellular and multicellular. Unicellular and multicellular. So that was the second criteria. And third criteria was the mode of nutrition. Third criteria was mode of nutrition. That is the way they take food, right? So on the basis of mode of nutrition, like some of them are autotrophic or saprophyte or rest of the heterotrophic mode of nutrition, right? So the third was mode of nutrition, autotrophic, saprophytic or heterotrophic. So third criteria was mode of nutrition. What was the fourth criteria? Fourth criteria was ecological lifestyle. Ecological lifestyle. What is that? That is, what is their role in this ecosystem? So like some of them are producer, that is like some of them are producer, or they may be decomposer like fungi, bacteria, or they can be consumer. So that was the ecological lifestyle. Last but not the least, the fifth one, that is phylogenetic relationship. Phylogenetic relationship. That was fifth criteria. So phylogenetic relationship means that is evolution, or we can say evolutionary trend. So these are the 5 criteria of classification for R.H. Whitaker, and he classified organism in 5 kingdoms. Is it clear to you? Okay. So what is the 6 kingdom classification system?
Sir, what is the evolutionary?
So is there any 6 kingdom classification system kind of thing?
Sir, in phylogenetic relationship, you wrote evolutionary.
Evolutionary trend, like who came first on the earth?
Okay, sir.
Okay, so you are not agree with that, that there is no 6 kingdom of classification system type of thing is found in on the earth. So on the in biology, we do not have any 6 kingdom classification system. Okay. So any one of you have idea about the 6th kingdom? Shoaib, tell me, what is the 6th kingdom? Marine? Gautam, any idea? 6th kingdom? Or you are also not agree with me? There is no 6th kingdom type of thing.
No 6
It's but it's not widely. Okay, fine. Very good, very good. Yes, Fatima. Yes, there is a concept of 6th kingdom classification system, but this was not widely. Very good, excellent, Fatima. So there was a like 6th kingdom concept, and this was a hypothesis. Look, so whenever you give something, some idea, some concept, it is called hypothesis. And if widely people accept it, this is called theory, right? And when you prove this theory by the experiment, it becomes law, and law never changes. Like law of inertia, it is not going to change anymore, right? So that is law. So first is it comes hypothesis. Then it becomes, when it is widely accepted by a large scale of scientists, then it becomes a theory. And when theory is proved by experiment, it becomes law, right? So this is a, we can say it's a theory. It's a not like law. It's not, or even we can say it's a hypothesis. It's not a theory. So there was a scientist that is now put the heading six kingdom classification system. Six kingdom classification system. So that is the fifth type. That is the sixth kingdom classification. So this kingdom classification system. So Whitaker given his classification system on 1969. I have told you. Okay. So now this kingdom classification system was proposed in 1990. Right. It's the latest 1990. So the person behind this theory, and he said his name was Carl Woese. So it was proposed by a scientist. His name is Carl Woese. Woese. Carl Woese. So Carl Woese was the scientist who said that there should be fifth kingdom, sixth kingdom. So what is the sixth kingdom? He said that there is a kingdom named Monera. He said you are keeping all bacteria in Monera. So Monera is represented by bacteria. We can say it is kingdom of bacteria. That is prokaryotic cell. He said that bacteria, no doubt, bacteria are prokaryotic cell. And he said bacteria are basically of two types. He said that Monera must be divided into two parts. Why? Because bacteria are of two types. So those bacteria who arrived earliest on the earth, they are quite different from the rest of the bacteria. He said there are a certain kind of the bacteria, and they are called archaebacteria. Archaebacteria. And we will study these archaebacteria in detail in this Monera kingdom in like next class. So till that time, I'm going to tell you archaebacteria are the oldest existing cell on the earth, and they are those cell, and they are considered as the first organism arrived on the earth as a life. Right. So this is the first cell which arrived on the earth, or we can say this is the first organism which arrived on the earth. Right. So he said that archaebacteria, their cell wall structure is quite different. Their cell wall structure is made up of a different kind of the protein, which is one of the most durable cell wall. So their structure is a bit different from the rest of the bacteria. And those bacteria which arrived later, so they are called eubacteria. Eubacteria. So Carl Woese said that the bacteria are of two types. First, archaebacteria, and second are eubacteria. So he said if these bacteria are different type, then Monera must be divided into two kingdoms. He said that the sixth kingdom should be archaea, where we will keep all these archaebacteria. Archae means old, and bacteria means bacteria, ancient bacteria. You must have listened that archaeology department, archaeological survey, or archaeology. So in archaeology, we study all those ancient kind of things. So archae word means, that is a Latin word. Archae means ancient, and bacteria means bacteria, and eu means new. It's Latin term. Eu, if you'll break this Latin term, eu and bacteria, eu means new. He said these new bacteria must be kept in this Monera kingdom, first Monera kingdom. And he said that the sixth kingdom that should be added, archaea. So archaea should be sixth kingdom. So this was argument of Carl Woese, and it was supported by a number of scientists, but it was not accepted across the world. Hence, there are still we study five kingdom classification system. Sixth kingdom classification system is not widely accepted by the scientists across the world, and it's not valid till date. Right? Clear? So note it down, and then I'll dictate. Note it down. In 1990, a scientist named Carl Woese. In 1990, a scientist named Carl Woese proposed six kingdom archaea. Proposed six kingdom archaea. Full stop. He argued that there is fundamental difference. He argued that there is fundamental difference between archaebacteria. Yeah, sure, Gautam. In 1990, there was a scientist named Carl Woese proposed six kingdom archaea. Full stop. He argued that there is fundamental difference between the cells of archaebacteria and eubacteria. He argued that there is fundamental difference in the cells of archaebacteria and eubacteria. Hence, both cannot be kept. In a single kingdom, Monera. Full stop. There should be six kingdom. There should be six kingdom archaea. There should be six kingdom archaea for archaebacteria. There should be six kingdom for archaea. There should be six kingdom archaea for archaebacteria. Right? So the six kingdom classification system is a proposed classification system. As such, six kingdom do not exist, and we do not follow this type of classification system. So till date, we are studying only five kingdom classification system, and that is a valid system of classification. So this was all about the type of classification and classification. Now tell me, if you have any doubt, please ask me. Any doubt? Please tell me. Any doubt? Clear to all of you? Do not have any doubt? No doubt? Okay. So now we are going to discuss the role of virus and what are the viruses, and how do we classify viruses, and what is their status in biological classification. So what are the viruses and all those things. So tell me, what is the status of viruses? Where we keep them? What is the status of viruses? No idea? Okay. Someone is telling me. Question from the last class regarding the yes, Fatima. I'll tell that question. Right, definitely. I'll discuss that. So okay. So till that time, No idea about viruses? Okay. So look, virus is, yeah, it's neither living nor living. So where we can keep these viruses in classification system? Tell me, Fatima. Where do we can keep these viruses in classification system? Nowhere. Okay. So they are not biological organism. Yes, great. So you won't find any type of the classification where virus have been kept. Virus is that member of the family of biology which has been kicked out of the classification system, right? He's a bad boy of biology family. So virus have been kept out of the classification system. So no scientists have studied or no scientists have incorporated any virus in any classification system. Why? Because virus have a different role. Look, there are many technicalities. You know, when I say there are many technicalities, uh, when we are at the standard of class 12, so many things are in like vague form. We use some terms which are the generic, which are not specific. Like you will find, if you will type something in internet, if you go to your internet and put down the acronym RBC, so you will find even in Wikipedia red blood cells, and a number of the like literature you will find red blood cell, and that is completely wrong. We cannot use cell term for the RBC. They are called red blood capsules. Why? Because they are not eligible to call cell. To be a cell, there are certain norms, certain criteria, and certain eligibility. So on the basis of those eligibility, for sake of example, if you are calling something cell, it must have nucleus, it must have nucleus-like structure, like genetic material, nucleoid, nucleus or nucleoid, or it must have protoplasm, it must have plasma membrane, it must have cell organelle, like ribosome and all that. RBC do not have these kind of things. So we cannot use cell term for RBC. That is prohibited biologically, right? So still you'll find literature in like internet. So everything in internet is not correct, right? So in the same way, we cannot use virus, we cannot use cell term for virus. And even we cannot call it organism. If someone is written, if somewhere is written that virus is organism, no, that's wrong. Organism term cannot be used for virus. Why? Organism are those which have life, and virus do not have life. We cannot say virus is a cell. No. We cannot use cell term for virus. That is completely wrong, right? So what is virus and how to define virus? We can say virus is let me tell you, virus is a cellular structure. That is the exact status of virus. Acellular structure, acellular, which is not a cell. Structure, it's not organism. So virus is acellular structure, first and foremost. Next. So what is the status of virus in biology? Look, virus is neither living nor non-living. Why, or what is the criteria behind saying that virus is neither living nor non? I have a logic behind it, because when virus goes inside any living environment or inside any living cell, virus inside any living cell. So when virus goes inside any living cell, for sake of example, the latest example I will give you, coronavirus. Till time the coronavirus is in air, and suppose someone is COVID positive and he have touched or she have touched some like metal railing, like any metal gate or any wall or car, anything. So he or she have touched some object, and he or she have transferred coronavirus to that structure. Coronavirus is not going to be multiplied. It won't multiply. So whenever some other person come over there and inhale the air and coronavirus goes inside him or inside her, then it starts multiplying. So when it is inside any living cell or organism, it start multiplying, multiplication. So we can say this is reproduction. So what is reproduction? To produce structure or offspring like its own. So this is living. That is characteristic of living. We have studied it's correct. It's not perfect characteristic, but it's characteristic of living, right? So when it is outside of living cell, it do not multiply. Then we call it is non-living. Right. So neither it's living nor living nor non-living. So what we give is status. Virus is a acellular structure and it is connecting link. It is connecting link between living and non-living. Clear? It is connecting link between living and non-living. Note it down. So tell me, guys, who given the term virus? Who coined the term virus? This question is exclusively for your NEET examination. Who coined term virus? Or we can say who given term virus? The term virus was given by Pasteur. The same guy, Louis Pasteur. The term virus was given by Pasteur. Again, exclusively a question which has been asked the topmost exam in your medical body, that is AIIMS. So this was a question of AIIMS. A statement is there. I'll give prize. So whoever tell me in first 2 seconds. So this is a statement. There is a statement. Contagium vivum fluidum. Contagium vivum fluidum. Who given this statement? You have to tell me in next 2 seconds.
Sir, Martinus Beijering.
Ah?
Martinus Beijering something.
Martinus?
Beijering.
Badgering, great. You are eligible for prize. Badgering. So the name of the person. So you are aware, you was aware with this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so
I've
you will
heard
get
it
your
somewhere.
prize. You will get your prize. Badgering, yes. So Badgering, this was actually answered. Badgering was the person, very good, excellent. So Badgering was that person who given, who told me? Who told me the answer of this question? Who's that person?
Sir, me Zain.
Oh, Jaina, great. So you'll get your prize, definitely. So excellent. So Badgering was, this is the, because this question belongs to the highest exam of this country, that is AIIMS, All India Medical Association. So AIIMS asked this question, and it's a very good question. So Badgering was the person who given this statement, contagium vivum fluidum. What does it mean? Means the infectious fluid which have some living organism which is in spreading infection, means infectious living fluid. If we will translate it from Latin to English, it means contagious living fluid. Okay, so contagium vivum fluidum, this statement was given by Badgering. For what? He given this statement for virus, right? Contagium vivum fluidum. And the virus term was coined by Louis Pasteur. Okay, so these are the two things which you need to remember. Now let me tell you what are the virus and what how does they look like and what is the special in viruses. Give me 1 second. So then we will start classification system. Okay. So till this point, clear to everyone, or you have any doubt? One more important question, but it's old question. I don't think so that this question will be asked to you again, but still you can get a good question, like easy question as well. There is no wonder you can get that easy kind of the question. So let me open the structure of virus, and before opening the structure of virus, who discovered the virus and which was the first virus of the world? That is also a very important question, but it's old question. Who discovered virus? Are, tell me. Who discovered virus? Look, there was a bacteriologist or there was a pathologist. He discovered a virus. So he found that in tobacco leaf there are a disease. So what kind of disease? In tobacco leaf there are some spot-like structure, and this disease is called mosaic disease. This is called mosaic disease of tobacco. So that person, he was his name was Ivanovsky. His name was Ivanovsky. So Ivanovsky was an Russian scientist, and he was a Russian pathologist. So Ivanovsky was working on this disease, and he came to know this is neither bacteria nor it's protozoa. It's not fungi even. So he was surprised, and then he came to know this is living as well as non-living. So he called it he called this virus TMV. TMV. So the disease is spread by a virus named TMV. TMV stands for tobacco mosaic virus. So tobacco mosaic virus was the first virus of the world, and it was discovered by Ivanovsky in tobacco leaves. Note it down. TMV, that is tobacco mosaic virus. TMV, that is tobacco mosaic virus. TMV, that is tobacco mosaic virus, was the first virus discovered by a Russian scientist, Ivanovsky. Discovered by Russian scientist Ivanovsky. Full stop. It is responsible for mosaic disease. It is responsible for mosaic disease in tobacco plant. And note it down. This question, even this question have been asked. TMV is a RNA virus. It is made up of RNA. We'll discuss in detail what are the RNA virus. So TMV is RNA virus. Got it? So TMV is the first virus which was discovered by Ivanovsky. Now let me show you the structure of virus. Look, it is ideal structure of virus. So the structure of virus may be different from this virus. This is our ideal structure of virus, right? So like in plant, like in animal, we study sponges, but in porifera, but sponges are not only porifera. Like sponges are the only representative of porifera. So in the same way, this is representative of porifera, and the name of this virus is bacteriophages. Bacteriophages are those viruses which attack on bacteria only, right? They do not attack on human. So bacteriophages are viruses which attack on bacteria or prokaryotic cells, right? So this is the outer covering of virus. Outer covering of virus is head, and this outer covering is made up of a protein, right? So this external outer structure completely made up of protein, and inside this protein structure there is genetic material, that may be DNA or that may be RNA or something else as well, right? And there are some internal protein program. So this and externally morphologically we divide, the upper part is head, this part is neck, this part is tail, and these are tail fiber, or we call it tentacle, and with the help of this tentacle it push its DNA inside our body, right? So this is an ideal structure of a virus. This is representative virus is bacteriophage. Clear? Clear to all of you? Okay, great. So take the screenshot, then we'll go ahead. Fine. So come to again, what are the size of virus? What is the average size of virus? So the size of virus varies, right? Note it down. The size of virus may be from 10 nanometer. The size of virus may be from 10 nanometer to 1300 into 6 nanometer. The size of virus may be from 10 nanometer to 1300 into 6 nanometer, right? So look, virus may be of different size, different shape. So on the basis of shape, we further divide virus into different categories. So let me tell you what are the categories of virus. And first, types of virus on the basis of shape, right? Look. So these are types of virus on the basis of shape. This kind of virus are called helical virus, right? So helical virus are those, they have a genetic material like this helix, and around this genetic material, these grapes-like structure, they are protein-like structure, they are found. So this kind of virus are called helical virus. Second, they are called polyhedral virus. So polyhedral virus are this kind, they are polyhedral structure, which is made up of protein, and inside this polyhedral structure there is protein, right? So look, exactly, COVID is a spherical virus. Yes, mice. COVID is spherical virus. So this is a spherical virus. In a spherical virus, there is a spherical cover which is made up of protein, and inside this spherical there is DNA or RNA, right? And the virus which we studied, that is a complex virus. And complex virus, the upper part is that tetrahedral, this part is cylindrical, and they have tentacle-like structure. So these are example is bacteriophage virus, influenza virus, adenovirus, and tobacco TMV. So TMV is helical virus. Clear to everyone? Classification of virus on the basis of shape.
Yes, sir.
Great. Now I will tell you one more important. I will show you one more virus, that is coronavirus. And you must be surprised that coronavirus looks like the virus of AIDS. So there is very few differences between AIDS virus. This is virus. This is HIV. It's not coronavirus. It's not the structure of coronavirus. This is actually structure of AIDS HIV virus. So this is outer envelope of protein. Coronavirus exactly look like same. Only the difference is that HIV is retrovirus, means it have two RNA and one enzyme, and the coronavirus have some different genetic material. So that is the difference is only in genetic material. So it have virus. This is AIDS virus, outer envelope protein, inner envelope protein, and this is genetic material, and this is something virulent enzyme. So this was a structure of HIV virus. So now I will give you some additional information. Let me write it down on the whiteboard. Look. So I told you that viruses are a very peculiar kind of organism. So they are very different kind of organism. So this is the structure of bacteriophage virus, which is an ideal virus for the study. So this is bacteriophage virus. In bacteriophage virus, sorry. This is bacteriophage virus. This brown color thing is that it's head, and this blue color thing that is neck, and this green color thing which I'm drawing right now, this is neck. So this is tentacle, right? So we divide virus. So this this complete structure, whatever I have drawn on the whiteboard, this is made up of protein, right? So what exactly I want to tell, this is made up of protein. So what is the name of that protein? So the name of that protein means, what is the name of that protein? Name of that protein is capsid. So this outer covering or external covering of virus is made up of capsid protein. It's very poisonous protein. So it is made up of capsid protein. And now, you know, like the tiles of capsid protein are found. The tiles of capsid protein are found. So these are tiles. It is made up of small tiles of capsid protein. These are the tiles of capsid protein. So what we call these tiles? So these tiles are called capsomere. So we call these structure capsomere, and capsomere are the small tiles like structure. They are made up of a poisonous protein, and the name of protein is capsid. Inside this capsid protein, so there is a hexagonal box of capsid protein, and inside the capsid protein there is a genetic material. So it's very important. There is a genetic material, or we can say genetic material is that material which transfer from one organism to another, or one generation to another, or we can say this is a nucleic acid. Look, so a virus may have either DNA or RNA. So this genetic material will be either DNA or RNA. Both cannot exist in a virus in same time. Means there is no virus across the globe which have DNA and RNA both inside capsid protein. So a virus will be either made up of DNA or made up of RNA. Both cannot coexist in same virus. Note it down. The genetic material in a virus, the genetic material in a virus, the genetic material in a virus may be DNA or RNA. DNA or RNA. Both cannot exist in a single virus. Next important point. An inert virus, when virus is outside of our body, like when it is not multiplying, an inert virus is called viron. An inert virus is called viron. Right? The virus. Now, if a virus is made up of protein, so it is have protein and DNA inside. It is called U virus. And if it is covered by protein and inside protein there is RNA, we call these virus retrovirus. And there is another kind of the virus which are made up of only protein. They do not have DNA or RNA, only protein. These viruses are called prions. So these are made up of only protein, and this protein have capability to divide inside our body. So they are called prions. U viruses are also called deoxyvira. Deoxyvira. They are also called deoxyvira. And RNA virus, retrovirus, or they are called ribovira. And prions are called prions only. So is it clear to all of you till this point? Clear? Okay, great. Fine. So next point. So prions are the virus, and next there is one more classification. Note it down. Classification of virus. Classification of virus on the basis of host. So virus are parasite and host are those which are affected with virus. Yeah, sure, nice. If you want to note it down, you can. Okay, great. Welcome. So classification of virus on the basis of host. So first, those virus which affect plant, means they are infecting plant. So plant virus, first kind of viruses, they are plant virus. So those viruses which infect only plant, they are called phytophaginae. Phyto, P-H-Y-T-O, phytophaginae. P-H-A-G-I-N-E-A-E. Phytophaginae. Second, those viruses which infect animal. So animal viruses are called euphaginae. U-P-H-A-G-I-N-E-A-E. Euphaginae. Next. So the third kind of viruses are just phaginae. So they are found in lower organism. Lower organism means which infect bacteria, which infect protozoa. So these are just called phaginae. Phaginae, right? So lower organism means like those like bacteriophages. So those, for sake of example, bacteriophages. So bacteriophages are type of phaginae because they infect lower organism. Like example, bacteriophages. They infect bacteria. Infect bacteria. So they come under the this one, phaginae, right? And like cyanophaginae. Cyanophaginae. So cyanophaginae are those which infect blue-green algae, BJ. So there are three kind of viruses on the basis of their host: phytophaginae, euphaginae, and phaginae. So this was all about the viruses. Note down, then tell me, is it clear or not? So HIV virus is a type of retrovirus because it is made up of RNA. HIV is a type of retrovirus because it's made up of RNA. Done? Noted down? And clear to all of you? Tell me. Aishwarya, Gautam, Fatima, Mais, Shoaib, Merin. Whatever we have studied till this point, is it crystal clear to all of you? And if you have any question, any doubt, please feel free to ask me. Oh, great. Okay, fine. Okay, great, great, great. Okay, so clear to all of you. Thank you. So look, now I will tell you something. I want to share some more information with you. Great, 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 great. So thank you all of you. So it's clear to you. You are. I know you all are very smart. So now let me tell you something more. So because you have understood each and everything, so I want share something more. So I want to share this information with you that how does virus reproduce or how does virus reproduction virus use a host for reproduction or multiply inside our cell. Look. So this is reproduction of virus. It's a bacteriophage virus. What does it do? So this bacteriophage virus, it comes and it sit on a bacterial cell. After sitting on a bacterial cell, settling down, it clamp bacterial cell with the help of its tentacle. And after tentacle, its neck is like a spring. So it work like injection. It compress its neck, compress. When it compress its neck, pressure develop inside, and with the help of that pressure, its genetic material goes inside bacterial cell. And after genetic material goes inside bacterial cell, this outer covering fall down. So the falling down outer covering is called ghost. Ghost, ghost. So this cover, this bacterial cover, fall down out of the cell, and that is called ghost. Then this DNA, this viral DNA, the yellow color DNA, this viral DNA, it associate with the bacterial DNA, and then the viral DNA start multiplying inside. After multiplication, what if viral DNA do? This viral DNA hijack to bacterial DNA. This blue color DNA is bacterial DNA. So this viral DNA hijack to bacterial DNA. Now this viral DNA asks bacterial DNA, do one thing, whatever I am telling you, you have to do. So now this viral DNA is started dictating to bacterial DNA to make viral protein. Now the bacterial DNA start making bacterial, not bacterial protein, it start making viral protein. After this DNA and or RNA and this protein get assembled inside, they assemble inside the cell and assembly takes place. After assembly, they rupture the bacterial cell and they increase their number 200 to 300. And after 200 to 300 number, these bacteriophages virus, they rupture the cell, and rupturing or busting of cell is called lysis. Lysis, and they escape from the cell, and again they infect 200 more new cells. So that's how the reproduction of virus takes place inside any bacterial cell or inside our cell. That's how the virus infect our body. Is it clear to you? So bacteria, virus do not have their physiology. They do not have their own mechanism. They use our body. They use like our cell to reproduce, and they use our machinery or they use bacterial machinery. Now tell me, is it clear to you? This was the information which I want to share with you. This is the reproduction of bacteria. If you want, you can take a screenshot. It's a reproduction of bacteria. That's how bacteria reproduce. So bacteria hijack the machinery of bacteria or any human cell or any plant cell, and then use it and they multiply inside it. Tell me, clear or not clear? Clear? Very good, very good. So this was about the virus. This was about the like bacterial cell. So This was about the five kingdom classification system. Let me check. Is there anything which is left? Oh, okay, Fatima. I'll repeat it again. Fine, fine. Wait. Look, what I said, Fatima. So this is the process, how the virus multiply or how the virus reproduces. So what happened? This is a virus, bacteriophage virus. This is a bacteria. So this is a E. coli bacteria. Like this is a common bacteria which is found inside our gut, and this is a virus. Virus sit on the bacteria. So when it sit on a bacterial cell, so it grabs like with the help of tentacle. So it grabs like, suppose that this is a cell, so it grabs the cell with the help of tentacle. And what happens is sit down on it. And now virus, the neck of virus is like a spring. It work like injection. So it start compressing its neck. When it compress its neck, it work like injection, and it push the DNA or RNA, whatever the genetic material is filled inside the virus, it put the DNA or RNA inside the bacterial cell. Now it is not reflecting in this diagram, but this cover, this bacterial protein cover, it falls down out of the bacteria. So the bacteria is called host, and this is parasite, and this protein covering is called ghost. Ghost, ghost, right? This protein covering is ghost. So ghost fall out of cell. So this ghost, this protein covering virus, do not go in such inside bacterial cell. It only introduces its DNA. Now, what this viral DNA, this yellow color DNA is viral DNA. Now, this viral DNA this blue color is bacterial DNA, hijack the bacterial DNA. It kidnap the bacterial DNA and ask bacterial DNA to make viral protein. Now, the bacterial DNA is hijacked. It cannot do anything. It is compelled to make, or it is compelled to do whatever the viral DNA is dictating. Now, the viral DNA is saying bacterial DNA to make my own protein. Now, the bacterial machinery is making viral protein. Bacterial machinery is helping to multiplication of viral DNA. After that, this viral DNA and viral protein, they get assembled. This is called assembly. After, at this point, 200 to 300 virus are produced inside single bacterial cell. And when they increase their number 200 to 300, they rupture or burst the bacterial cell. The process of rupturing of bacterial cell is called cell lysis or cell lysine. Okay, then these escape and 200 or 300 virus have been produced. Now these 200 or 300 virus will infect next 200 to 300 cell. By this way, the virus start, and the virus, like coronavirus, is very deadly because the rate of reproduction, rate of the multiplication of the virus is very high, and it's infectious too. Is it clear now? Crystal clear? Okay. It's all right. It's all right, Fatima. So this was all about the five kingdom classification system. We covered virus as well. We covered all classification system, right? So that's it for the today. And before sum up the class, I would like to go with like Fatima have a special doubt. She have a doubt, and I want to solve her query. So I'll tell query, and even you people, it will be very beneficial for rest of the people. So keep on listening whatever I am saying you, and you will be able to understand when I will explain you about the your kingdom. What to say that kingdom is Protista. So when we will study Protista kingdom, it will help you out. So look, let me open the diagram first. Okay, so before opening the diagram, Fatima, I want to say one more thing, that your NCRT and the NCRT which has been uploaded this time, that is wrong. Actually, they have wrong diagram. So let me share you my NCRT diagram. So we have NCRT. So I'll show you that diagram as well. So the NCRT which is available online, that is in the form of PDF, they have wrong diagram. Like they are not supposed to make that diagram. So, but still nobody. So everywhere you will find this diagram. Give me 1 second, please. Just a second. Let me open that diagram. Where is that? Sorry. Where is that? Look, Fatima, this is the diagram, which is actual diagram. Uh, this is the actual diagram. This diagram. It have a single flagella only, right? And this is from RNCRT book, the hard copy which I have. So this is actual diagram. The diagram in your NCRT, that is wrong. So look how it is wrong and how they have represented it wrongly, because in Protista we have studied that there are the Protista like euglenoid, they always have two flagella. Yes, that is very true. That every most of the, not every, most of the euglenoid, they have two flagella. But what happens in case of euglena, it also have, theoretically it have two flagella. Look, so what happens, this euglena have two flagella. Look, it's looking like. So what happens, these flagella comes out of this root like structure. We call this root blepharoplast. Okay, so we call these roots blepharoplast. So these blepharoplasts are the origination point of the flagella. So yes, these are the two flagella which comes out from the euglena. So after, but only one flagella come out of the this euglenoid cell. What happens? The second flagella, it is not a developed kind of the flagella. This flagella fuses inside the cell of the euglena. So they have the origination, with the origination they have two roots, that two blepharoplasts. So their origination point is two. But before coming out of the cell, these both of the flagella fuses, and this one is a smaller flagella, this one is larger flagella. This smaller flagella fuses with the larger one, and smaller flagella do not come out of this euglenoid body, and only single flagella come out of the euglenoid body, right? So that is about the euglena. So yes, theoretically they have two flagella, but smaller one remains inside the cell of euglena. It do not come out, and generally all the protists have two flagella, right? All the euglenoid have two flagella. So the smaller flagella of euglena, it never comes out, and no euglena have been reported because the earth which have two flagella. So they have the single flagella, on the larger one come out in the case of euglena. Is it clear? Now tell me, Fatima, tell me, is it crystal clear? New edition, even many readers, there are flagella. So what do? Oh, look. If you will go with any of like our competitor, I am not going to discuss with our like those who are our competitor. They are in online segment only. So I'll tell you just a minute. Even if you will go with those good author books like ABC or True Man is very good book. Even Dinesh, there are a number of the books. They all are writing the same thing, and that is to flagella of Euglena. So it's written everywhere that they have the two flagella, and one flagella always comes out of the body, and the one flagella remain inside. Look, I am sharing you Wikipedia as well. Look, this is highlighted. Euglena have two flagella rooted in basal body, means basal granule, located in a small reservoir at the front of the cell. Typically, one flagella is very short and does not produce from the cell, when does not protrude from the cell, where other is long enough to be seen and with light microscopy. So look, this is there is also two flagella, and both have blepharoplast, means basal body, basal granule. These are blepharoplast are also called basal granule or basal body. So these two come, but only single flagella is protruding. If anyone is making diagram with the two flagella, that is completely wrong. So the same thing have been described in like Wikipedia as well, what I am explaining you. Clear? So this is the correct actually concept.